Rakhmonov spoke up. I got to tell you, I've been waiting for this moment. In fact, I've not really known how to operate and maneuver Rakhmonov absent of this moment. Like when I come over and I start telling you guys his record, it sounds like folklore. Oh, this guy, he's 15-0. He's never been beat. 15-0. He stopped absolutely everybody. I come back later. This guy, man, he's 16-0. He stopped everybody. He's never been beat. Do you know how beautiful an O is? And the all-time record we've ever seen in MMA is by Khabib. That was 29-0, but we do start to realize, wow, that is a big number. That is a big number and a long time on an average of 3 fights per year to get it right, to get it perfectly right, over and over again. I got to come back to you, and I got to tell you, this Rakhmonov guy, man, I don't know if Rakhmonov is a first name, last name, nickname. I don't know anything. All I know is he's beaten 17 men, and they haven't beaten him, and he's finished them all. I got to come back to you again. I got to do the sing, song, and dance and tell you that he's 18-0. And then the only thing and the only place that your mind will go, if you don't know the story already, if you don't know Rakhmonov, if I'm in here telling you the story, your mind and place is instantly going to connect dots with something negative. You're not going to connect the dots of, wow, he's on track to be the greatest of all time. Wow, he's on track to be in world title fights. Wow, you're not. You're instantly going to connect the dots of, he must not have been fighting very good guys. His schedule must be padded. He must have a great manager maneuvering him around, particularly if he is in the UFC. That's where your mind goes. So now I need a little bit more time. I need to explain to you some of the guys on this list. I talked to you about Wonder Boy Thompson. I talked to you about Jeff Neal. I talked to you about Neil Magny. And we still have a problem where the final analysis does not equal world title fight. How on earth could we have a guy with a better record than Jon Jones and a higher finishing rate than Jon Jones, and he's not at a minimum closing out shows, meaning a main event? How? So, and the answer, guys, is real simple. He hadn't spoke up. He had asked for it. You will not get anything in life, particularly in this life of an MMA fighter, if you don't ask for it. That seems like a very basic concept, by the way. I know all sorts of kids, they go off to school and they're told this promise. I was one of them. I went and got certified smart. Good for me. I will pass that same thing on to my children. It's better if you go and do this. And you're going to get that college degree. I do understand it. But it's all in that so you can get a job, so you look good on a resume, so that something jumps off the page and you can get the interview with a potential company you'd like to work for. I mean, it's all in lines of those things. So to get that job, I could go in, I could get the degree, I could have a perfect schooling, I could have internships, I could do all of those things, or I could go and ask for the job. Will you hire me for this job? I will get an answer right then from the decision maker, absent of having to write certain things down on a resume or absent of what beautiful things might be on my resume. I can just go and ask for it. It's the same thing with my parents. I can try to do some yard work around the house, or maybe I'll wash the car, I'm raking the leaves, I'm doing something in the backyard to be helpful, to try to get that new pair of shoes. I could, or I could go up and ask them for it. And I'm only reminding you of this. It is just so wildly important in life on a whole. If you want to know the best way to get something, the best way to get something is to ask for it. And now we're finally seeing Rakhmonov. And I mean, if you ever want to talk about somebody with the beautiful resume, if you want to talk about somebody that went and got that education, if we're going to use that as a metaphor, higher learning, master's degree, PhD, this guy is 18-0 against other killers, of which he has not only lost to none of them, he has finished all of them. It's an unbelievable thing, but you could sidestep him if he allows you to. Jack Della Milena is the only guy to call out Rakhmonov. And I've even read articles where people have disputed Chael's claim. Chael, you must have missed it. Ian Gary called him out. No, he didn't. Ian Gary talked about him, and Ian Gary kept his brand intact of being young and brash and anyone, anywhere, anytime. He accomplished a lot there. But make no mistake, he did not call him out. Belal Muhammad can see the writing on the wall. And Belal is not going to flinch from anybody. This will be anything but a closet champion. Belal Muhammad has already set an example for the guys in the locker room. He will continue to do that. That's my prediction. But he also knows if not next, then the one after that, he's going to be standing across from Rakhmonov. But if not next, then the one after that, guys, that's millions of dollars potentially. When you're in on the participation, which means you're the champion and you're defending the belt, you have an opportunity for millions of dollars. Anybody that was ever a little kid and wanted to be a cage fighter. But that was their ultimate plan in life. Once they're done with that cage fighting thing, they would be able to retire in life. Okay. You cannot reach that point unless you have participation, unless you become a champion who's defending, which activates the participation part of your contract. It's that big of a deal. Oh, and by the way, just because you have participation doesn't mean when this whole thing's done, you'll have made enough to retire. Right? It's not an if-then statement, but it's wildly important. And if you can push Rakhmonov down just one, it's a better idea to do than not to do it. And it would have been something you could accomplish. I think Kamaru Usman was primed for the spot. I think Kamaru Usman goes right in to Belal Muhammad, and I could even bring resumes into it. And when Rakhmonov finally spoke up and stuck up for himself, he too has done the math. And the math isn't just looking at the rankings. It's having your ears open to the industry. It's having your ears open to rumors and ideas that are out there. And he's done the equation to find out it's down to him versus Usman. Talking about Rakhmonov here. And Usman. And whoever wins that, or I apologize, whoever wins this battle, this debate for public opinion will be the one that goes into the world title fight. So Rakhmonov spoke up very clearly about Usman specifically. Said, I am 18-0 in all finishes. You have lost 3 of your last 3. We are all done here. That was his play. And I'll share for you the most interesting part of all of that. He just stated the obvious, right? He just stated what records were, but he bring it to everybody's attention. And it does make it harder for a decision maker if that gets a headline, if that stays out there, if that's the last thought in the people's mind. Particularly in an industry where perception is reality, possibly stronger than any other industry I've ever seen, then he would have done a really great job. But this isn't new. Belal Muhammad became champion of the world almost 4 weeks ago. This is not new. Rakhmonov did not increase his record since then. He had already had the record he's talking about. Kamaru Usman did not get defeated since then. He'd already had the record. It's the first time that Rakhmonov is speaking up, though. It's the first time Rakhmonov is trying to get into a battle. And it's an important one. Not just that he win. Rakhmonov is going to get the nod. Rakhmonov is going to be in there for the world championship. Is he going to be in there next? See, it's important that he is, and it's important that he win. Because the only thing that's holding him back right now, the only thing that's giving reservation to anybody that's making the decisions is, do I have a guy that understands self-promotion is a large part of this game? Effective self-promotion is a large part of this game. Do I have a guy that has that? Because I don't mind somebody speaking up for themselves. And I don't mind somebody asking for large opportunities. I don't mind anybody coming with a resume, and even if they got to use reality as their first piece of evidence. But the question is, will Rakhmonov do that? It's the first time. First time he's spoken up. He's spot on. He did everything right. He did nothing wrong. But it's down to 2. He heard about it. He heard it's down to 2. So that's what the insiders are saying. He's trying to get you to give your opinion. So why don't you share it? For Belal Muhammad's first title defense, would you rather see him against Kamaru Usman or Khamzat Chimaev?